Leafs Talk, JD Bunkis, Sam McKee, the Chili Boys. It's chilly today.
No,
In the basement.
so I did this take today
Yeah.
on Kipper and Bourne because Berube, big tough Alberta boy,
Oh,
Calahoo,
yeah.
Alberta,
Yeah.
is making fun of the Toronto sports media for being a bunch of softies. He's like, I
Yeah.
wore a t-shirt today, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, I said on the show, there's nothing I hate more than when people from outside of Toronto gatekeep the cold, where like we're not allowed to be cold in Toronto. It's just like, yeah, we can be cold. Like, it's cold here, it's cold there. I'm from Owen Sound. It's cold there all the time. I get that it's cold in places.
No.
Like, it was cold today in Toronto. Like,
Buddy.
So is Berube the tough guy in your high school that wore shorts in the winter? That's you.
You gotta know. We're built different up north, you know?
Like, we're a gatekeeper. Stop it. We can be cold.
We're built different. You guys just don't really know. You get a little bit of wind and everybody shuts down. Nobody goes to the Leafs game tonight because they're like, oh, it's too chilly out there. They shutter the windows. They close the doors. Everybody stays inside. Brother, you move that Leafs game. You think people in Alberta aren't going to the game because it's chilly outside?
Buddy, I got to tell you, like, I had to put on this Costco skid hoodie in my basement because I'm shivering like Mike McDaniel on the Green Bay sideline, brother. I'm cold. My little toes are cold. I'm cold.
We gatekeep the cold for a reason because we're like Bane. You embrace the darkness. I was born in it. That's us with the cold, buddy.
Whatever.
You guys in your fancy Toronto city, you get a couple of cold days a year and you're all shivered up. You're a little chilly. It's all right.
Apparently there's 80 centimeters of snow over the next few days in my hometown. So in Owen Sound, they're getting pounded right now.
Snow. Hey, it's sorry. It's snow. No big deal. No big deal. No, the best for me is that I get to play both worlds. If I see anyone from home, I'm like, God, how do you live up there in that chilly wilderness?
You play it both ways.
And then when I'm here, I'm like, tough it up, even though I hate the cold. I'm a cold hater. Anyways, Leafs win tonight. They beat the Ducks. I got to tell you, I was in a fugue state for basically the entire second period. Like,
what happened in the game tonight? I was too busy crying the entire time after Stolarz got hurt. Was there a game? I don't even care. Oh, they beat the Ducks. Yahoo!
Dude, like I said, I was like just in the fugue state, staring forward, being like, I don't know what's going on. Just thinking about Stolarz, looking at Twitter, being like, maybe they get an update. Maybe they're going to say in the middle of the game that's no big deal.
So
he's a little dehydrated.
I don't know. I like, for what it's worth, there was like the Ceravelli thing. You saw that? Because they were doing like that Thursday night Amazon thing, the red zone for hockey. And like, I don't know. I think it was like, it's not that serious or something is what I saw him say. What was the report? Yeah. Frank Ceravelli is like, not believed to be incredibly significant, whatever that means. But it's just like, you watch this play, he bends down, he kind of barks at it. You could say like, oh, maybe he's just sour it went in, but it does not look like a guy that's sour it went in. He felt something go right there. And this is about as depressing a thing that could happen in this Leafs season, because there's been no better story for me for this season than Anthony Stolarz. He's been a complete revelation for the Leafs. We've been gushing about him every single Leafs talk. And I really, really loved, and I'm not going to do the thing that everybody's doing, being like, oh, well, you shouldn't have started him. Like, he earned the start. He was like, I mean, like Kipper and Bourne were already doing it. Like, I'm sure we'll yell about it tomorrow on the show, but they were already doing it on the broadcast tonight. Like, they should have started him tonight. He was unbelievable. It's pro sports. He earned this start. He was amazing. And you can't live the revisionist history. Guess what? He could have gone in Detroit on Saturday night and got hurt. Like, it's hockey. He's playing a lot of hockey. That happens. And he earned the start, and it's just an absolutely brutal break. And I'm sick for him. I hope it's not long-term, but knee stuff, he's already had stuff with the lower body over his career. And here we go. So we'll see.
So I was talking on my show today about how, like, the reason why I don't think that people have been overly pessimistic about the Leafs play over this recent stretch, because it hasn't been good, right? Like, it's totally fair to point out that Leafs over the last 6 games, they just haven't been good, man. Expected goals for, they've lost 4 of the last 5 games before tonight. Tonight they were better. It's like, whatever. They played a Ducks team that, frankly, that is just about as imagine being a fan of their team and watching this every night. Anyway, like
can I tell you though, like I watched a lot of the game last night because it was the only show in town. I watched a lot of Ducks Senators and wanted to support my boy Borny on the national broadcast, give him the ratings, and the Ducks, the Leafs made the Ducks look way better than the Sens did. So I'll just say that, like the Sens pulverized them, but there was no comparison.
This gets me back to the point. This gets me back to the point that I was trying to make, which is that the Leafs have not played well recently, right? Like they're like you, they're chilly. They're like, ooh, I'm not 100%. I'm not feeling very good. Maybe that's why Berube mentioned it. He's like, God, can you guys just show up here and not be just completely lackluster? But the reason why I don't think anybody's too down on them is because the biggest thing is that they've got these two goaltenders now where both are playing brilliantly. And good for Woll tonight, right? He steps in ice cold and he's solid. Made a bunch of really quality saves in this game. Like no stinkers, just good play for a guy that stepped in off the bench. And that has mattered more than any type of other storyline that the Leafs could have so far this season, is that they've got two guys where both of them have question marks in terms of their durability or their ability to run through an entire regular season, but you have the safety valve. And to lose one of them, and to have a guy end up actually getting hurt and have to hit the shelf would suck. So hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, I think, again, you and I spent half an hour gushing about Stolarz last night. So see him leave a game sucks. And you're right. There's nothing I hate more than revisionist injury history. Like, oh, they shouldn't have played. It's like, okay, doctor, like you got this all figured out. You should have been in the medical room. Why didn't the Leafs hire you then, I guess? Yeah,
he's a pro athlete that just had the best start of his career, and they rewarded him with another start. Let's
also, like, how many goalies play a heavy workload and then play it a couple nights later and totally fine? So if that's your take, shut up. And I got to say, I saw this one was funny from X-Spawn Hawks. Just saw Stolarz as a flight book to Germany tomorrow. It's like, too soon.
Too soon. Wait, too soon.
Too soon, Daddy. Too soon.
Here's what will happen tomorrow. Or tonight. We'll see if we could keep an eye on what Berube says after the game, boys, and maybe get the quote in there for if there's any update on Stolarz. Here's what Berube will say. Yeah, we'll see what it's looking like tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow, he's fine day to day, and then it'll be out a month.
That's going to be the case. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that.
The new out a month is day to day. That's the new hotness is day to day. Yeah, everyone's day to day. I guess we're all day to day technically.
I've been day to day for like since I turned 30. Since I turned 30, I've been day to day. Yeah. Every day I wake up before I go to work, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I can do it today. This isn't it for me. I think maybe just a new job. Maybe.
Well, you got to get out. You got to get out of bed like a normal hour. I'm scrolling TikTok till like 9:30 a.m. in bed, so I don't ever really think like that.
You live a charmed life, friend. Okay. Patches.
Patches. Yeah. I'm really happy that he got some goals tonight. Got rewarded for. Got the production, he gets the kind of a phantom tip on the one, makes a great play to poke in the pass from Tavares, and he almost got kicked in the face with a skate. It was kind of a scary play on the first one. But I really like that a guy that is playing honest, trying to do what he talked about it. Remember he talked about at practice that like he really appreciated what guys did for him early in his career. And I love that conversation that he had. He's actually a really good talker, Pacioretty. And he's kind of doing it with the hits and he's trying to play physical. But in this guy's heart, he's a goal scorer. He's been, how many 30-goal seasons has he had in the league? 6. Like, and it's just nice that the puck landed on his stick in the sweet spot a couple times to reward him for this. Because he's been playing hard. He gets hurt, comes back. You love to see it. And he deserved a couple tonight. And I'll let you get in on this. It's almost like they should have reunited this line immediately because they were excellent. From the time that the time they put him together to the time he got hurt, this line was excellent. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this already, that when he came back and he was playing with Matthews and Marner, he went, well, why? Yeah. He was good with Tavares.
Really good.
Him and Tavares is the most obvious pairing on the entire team. Like, is there a more obvious pairing?
Well, to Matthews and Marner. To every
no, but
coaches.
I don't think Matthews and Marner is more obvious because you can make the case that they should be split up. Yeah. Right. Like I think again was another night where Domi ends up getting lost in the shuffle a little bit, and we're still asking the questions of where he should be. And you and I can talk about that a little bit later. But to me, just Pacioretty and Tavares, there's something about it. It fits. It's two guys with size, two guys that are good around the net, two guys who have scored a ton of goals and are just of like the same era, good players, good hockey minds, big bodies, can play down low, keep them together. If they're healthy, those two guys should be playing side by side for the rest of the season. And this is the thought I had about Pacioretty, man, is so he played a season high tonight, right? Like almost 19 minutes of ice time.
I was just going to check. It felt like he was out there a ton.
He was. Gets the pair of goals and
more than Tavares, almost a minute more than Tavares tonight.
Okay. Yeah. So when you have a game like tonight, the numbers are going to be excellent for you. But my prevailing thought with Pacioretty is this: I'm never going to care about what the numbers say with this guy. Just a good hockey player on a team that has no depth. You know what I was thinking of when he scored the second goal tonight was, remember that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where it's Jerry, where he tries to be where Larry tries to be George, and he's like, icon, no con. And it's kind of the opposite, where it's like
George was a buffoon. He was an idiot.
No, but yeah. That it's the opposite, where it's like every one of the depth pieces, it's like no con, no con. And then with Pacioretty, it's like icon, some guy that's actually
that's a great comparison.
Real hockey player, a real guy that can go up in the talks. Like, this isn't Pontus Holmberg up there where you're just going, oh my God, nightmare every single night. So do I think that Pacioretty is going to come with some ups and downs? Are there going to be nights where the Leafs look slow and he's a part of that? Is he going to go through his lulls and not get you, the 30-goal season that he has been accustomed to in his prime? Absolutely. But the guy's just a damn good hockey player, knows where to be on the ice. And here's the other part too. I don't usually try to get too sentimental about the players, and certainly not like a former Canadian, or I think we overdo it sometimes with like, this guy should be really proud of himself. It's like, yeah, for millions of dollars, a lot of people would work pretty hard. But this guy busted his ass in the offseason, like truly put the work in, and crazy with the diet. Everybody that's around him says that he's someone who loves the game and wants to extend his career. And when he first grabbed at that hamstring this season, you thought, oh boy, maybe this thing's all done. But you know what also training does is that it helps you mitigate the injuries. And so good for a guy who put a ton of the work in the offseason and is just squeezing the absolute most out of the end of his career, because he is now, to me, becoming very apparent, a crucial component to this Leafs team.
No question. He's very, very, very important to them. And, you didn't really think about it as much when he was out, right? Like, he was out and you're just kind of getting through these games where they're patching it together with these AHLers. And then you see him back in the game. You see him in there with Tavares and Nylander. You're like, oh yeah, okay. This guy's been a star in the league for a long time. And he's like, it's a diminished version of what he was, obviously, but like all the instincts are still there, and he can still give you like what he gave you tonight. And now he's hammering guys too. So I give him full credit for looking the way he has.
When the puck's on his stick and he's around the net, he still looks like Max Pacioretty.
For sure. Yep. Takes him a little longer to get there, but still looks good.
But once he gets there and you get him that puck, he's going to look like Max Pacioretty.
He hammered one a one-timer cross crease tonight too. I thought he was going to get the hat trick. Was it maybe Willie that passed it to him? And he hammered it down to a knee, got a lot on it. That Stahl is pretty good goalie. I was impressed by him.
He played well tonight. Yeah. I thought.
Yeah.
Like he was solid. So I wanted to ask you this. It's just like a little segment to the show.
Ooh.
Who's the more important Max?
Oh, wow. That is a great question. I think it's pretty clear that it's the one with the last name that starts with P. Right? Like, I mean, it's a hard one, but like, I don't think it's hard. Maybe it's hard to say because one of them makes $3 million more per year. Maybe that's why it's hard to say, but there is clearly no question who's having a bigger impact on these games. And it's Max Pacioretty.
He's been better this season. Yep. And so far, like we just said, he's got the more obvious fit on the team. And you texted me tonight, hey, they got to get Domi up the lineup. And I agree. And Domi had a real moment with the team last year where he and Matthews had incredible chemistry. It felt like he was just born to be in the blue and white, that all the things, the universe was coming together for the guy. But I just feel as though this is what I would say. The floor is clearly higher for Pacioretty, whereas the ceiling is still higher for Domi. But in terms of import right now, especially with Domi not playing center and not feeling like that's going to be where he's supposed to be this year, I kind of feel like it might be Max. That it's a close one, but for who's the top dog Max for this team?
Yeah, I think it's Pacioretty.
listen, you can say it's recency bias. Fine. It's just, we're working off the sample for this team right now.
Yeah.
And if you were told that one guy was going to be missing now for a stretch, there's just no doubt about it who you'd feel like has the bigger impact on the team.
Yeah, like I was just looking at Domi played over 14 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He's a +1, but
couple good shifts.
Still hasn't had a point.
Yep.
Made a great pass to Minton off the end boards. Minton
thought he was noticeable on the forecheck, really trying to dig in on pucks.
But like he's making the most out of any forward other side of the core four.
Yep.
So you're not paying for noticeable here. Yep. You're paying for production. And like outside, if he's not producing, he has a hard time making an impact. And that for me is why I've been talking about getting him into the top 6, right? Like I know it's hard to potentially take Nyes out of the top 6, but like you need to get Domi feeling it a bit here. He's a feel player. He's a guy that like you need to, has to have the puck in his stick, has to be able to pass with good players. And that's is where we've talked about it before, but this is why it was a questionable signing in terms of the fit. And we were all intoxicated on the passion juice here, where we're all like, there's no way, like it's not going to work out. But like you look at the fit and it's not necessarily perfect, but just for the next few games here, just try it for a period or something, just to let him see it go in. Let him see it make a putt here. Like it's just, he's got to feel it. And, Nyes has been good. So it's hard to envision taking him out of the top 6, but like give Domi a run, try to let him get woken up a bit here because he's asleep.
So this is part of it, is like when you have this guy and the other guys that are above him in the lineup right now, it still feels like the only way that you can make this thing work is if you spread out the core 4 over 3 lines.
Yeah.
That somebody in the core 4 has to be playing with lesser talent, because here's my case against why I think Domi is not as important as Pacioretty to this team right now anyways. So everyone that is making the case like he's got to play with good players, I agree with you. Like I'm with you on everything you just said. I don't disagree at all. Mm-hmm. But how many guys have been able to play with Marner and Matthews? Everybody except for Nick Ritchie. Like it's the only guy who couldn't do it, right? Anybody
I forgot about that name. Nick Ritchie.
Yeah,
good signing there, Kyle. That was a good one. What did they give him? $3 million or $2.5 million for 2?
I think it was 2.5, 2 years. Woof. I gotta say though, I was behind it, and then I watched him for 2 games, and I was like, oh.
Doobie and Wes Clark didn't get out to many Boston games, I don't think, to watch him play. That's where he came from, right? Boston?
You and I both love grapes, but that was his toughest take. The internet came around, Twitter started taking videos and taking receipts right as Grapes was like, I think Ritchie over Nylander, and the internet never forgot it.
But listen, his heart was in the right place. He's like, you got a Canadian boy. Yeah. I was like, yep, hey, brother.
Perfect defense. Case closed. Heart was in the right place. Case dismissed. Everybody leave the courtroom. Grapes was right in some ways on that take. His heart was in the right place. So I'm like, yeah, okay, man. I guess if you want to play him with the top guys, great, but everybody can kind of play with the top guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. So it's just like, it's the, what do you say you do here situation. Yeah. So here's the thing, here's the silver lining. And I think the Fonzie Maz said this, and this is something I was thinking about, if they really upgrade the 3C position, which people have been really talking about heavily, and Kipper brings it up all the time that they're really aggressive about it and they really are looking to upgrade the 3C, depending on who that is. If it's a good, more like offensive minded guy, then that's a spot for Domi to be able to play with that guy, whoever that person is, right? Where it's like, if you can play him with a third line guy who's got a bit of a defensive, like I'm asking for a unicorn, a bit of an offensive guy with a good defensive conscious, like people aren't just going to give him away, but you think they're going to upgrade in the bottom half of the lineup, and you're going to think that maybe Domi can go along and play with that person when they get it. So,
or one of the other guys on the team.
Yeah. So it's just not right now looking perfect, but I do think it has a chance to be okay a little later in the season. How's that?
Yeah, of course. I just wonder if this will be the year where they try to really make a big swing happen.
Hope so.
Like,
feels like they need it in the bottom half of the lineup.
That's it. It's just, think about how good this team would look if Brock Nelson was brought to town.
Love Brock Nelson.
Yeah. And it's just such a perfect fit, because everyone's done the Kadri thing. I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think there's too much money there. And I just don't. I don't think it's
This
going to
is
happen.
scary. I would love it so much, but it's a scary contract, no question.
It's a scary contract, and you know, I've done this over and over and over again. That people get their hair in a bunch over Tavares' age, and it's like, yeah, imagine if Tavares was signed multiple years to more money. Like if Tavares signed tomorrow for what Kadri has left on the books, people would lose their minds. And Tavares is better. Like people were mad that Tavares didn't make Team Canada. So what? Like
who was mad about that?
Yeah, like what is it? Well, a lot of people were. A lot of I thought that
I went on air and buried whoever made like the Team B and didn't put Tavares on Team B.
Oh yeah, well that
buried whoever my colleague was, and I found out it was David Amber, and I felt less bad because he didn't care. So I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh God, I would have felt even worse because when people ask me, I'm not even kidding. When people ask me like, who's a bad guy from work, I never.
No, but like I can say that like he can take it. Like I went on air and did like a thing.
Off here because people are thinking I'm going to say DA's a bad guy.
Oh no, he's the best guy.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'll tell you who the best guy is. David Amber. Like. No, like you cut me off right. I was like, people ask me who a bad guy is. Yeah, you're like, here's my thought on this. Just shut up for 5 seconds, dude. Not there. Have some timing, man. No, it's a DA is genuinely like he is a what you see is what you get great guy. I love that.
Wonderful guy.
Like truly amazing dude. He's the guy that when you run into him, whenever you run into him, you're stoked about it because you're gonna have a nice little stop and chat.
Correct. Great stuff.
Yes, 100%. So anyways, let's clear that. Make sure that's very obvious that guy is the man, not that I answer who's a bad guy at work. And I'm like, David Hammer.
Got it. You good to move on to the next thing for me?
Yeah, I don't have too much from this. I'll be honest. I hated this game. It was just eye poison for me.
Okay. The next thing I have and
Morgan.
Yeah, it's Morgan. And I think whatever Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Morgan Rielly, whatever the definition of chemistry is, it's the opposite for those two. Like they're not good together. I don't know how many shifts the Leafs were hemmed in tonight, but it really felt like 44 and 95 were out there for the majority of them. And when Morgan Rielly's going right, we've said it a million times, it's the decision-making's on. He's skating. He's using his legs. It doesn't feel like he has to make a ton of defensive decisions because that's not his strength. But he's just making the wrong decisions right now. He looks tired, like at the start of shifts somehow. Like it just, nothing is going right for him. He blows the coverage on Killorn, who gets out into the front of the net and barely fans on the game-tying goal. It's really not going right for Morgan right now. So I guess we've reached the portion of the Toronto Maple Leafs season now where we all start to dump on Morgan, and I feel like we're kind of getting there, but I don't think he was very good tonight. I don't like him with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And I don't think he's been very good for most of the season. I think he's -8 on the year. I think he's the worst in the Leafs.
Yeah. And now is the portion where we go, but he's the one guy you don't worry about come playoff. So, yeah, he's done this before. I don't think that he played very well tonight. He started hot, too. He looked good at the beginning of the game.
He was jumping early.
Yeah, and then game started to get away from him with some odd man rushes. And I hated the end of that first period, by the way. That was like the most egregious part of the game for me is, you and I talked about how we were going to judge this game a little bit more heavily because of how they played against the Devils.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, you know what? They came out and a little tiny slow start. Then they got into the game pretty quickly. All of a sudden they're up 2-0. And I go, good, hammer these guys. Just put it away. This is 3-0 and the game is beyond over.
They quit.
Right?
They're quitting.
And then it's a bad penalty. Puck's in the back of your net. And all of a sudden at the end of the period, they gave up 3 odd man rushes. And, we got this highlight back here. It's like, all big saves from Stolarz. Almost said Wool because he was in the net for us. I was like, oh, please don't be the last time we saw Stolarz.
I will remember you.
So he came up big at the end of the period because the Leafs just like, there's Morgan Rielly there, like kind of poking with the stick, prodding with it, lets them break out. And Stolarz had to make a couple saves and you entered the period and going, man, what should have been them going back in the room, like, let's cave these guys in, game over, ended up being probably Brube going, what the hell? What are we doing here? And then they came out in the second period and they kind of dogged it for a lot of the second too. So not a spectacular game for the Leafs tonight by any stretch of the imagination. This is now, again, 4 wins in 6 games. So You can't crush them too hard, but over the course of the 6 games, it's just like this has been their worst stretch of hockey over the course of the season.
Yeah, and they've gotten brilliant goaltending and some timely goals, and that's kind of how they've won. But yeah, I didn't love portions of their game tonight in a big way, and it felt like a classic play down to your competition Keith Leafs game tonight, where they haven't had a ton of those, and it really, really felt like that tonight. So, anyways.
With you. No, with you.
So are we going to do that?
But to close on that thought too, I'm just going to say the thing that I've been saying forever, which is, hey, Morgan Rielly needs to play with a guy who is right-handed. No, he just does. Like I know.
Continue.
No, it's just he's got to play with a guy who's right-handed, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson's not good on his offhand. Like they're not pairing.
From
Nashville,
from the province of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, someone who's got it, who can deal with the cold,
who's familiar with the market.
Guy who would be with Craig Berube in t-shirt outside in this cold, going, "It's got a tepid today." Like not the best day outside. But it just this pairing doesn't work. So try different things. I don't care what how you mix it up, but. I heard Berube actually say today, he goes back with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, back with Morgan Rielly, a pairing that's been good for us. And you go, no, it hasn't been. It's not a good pairing. You gotta do something different. Last thing for me, anyways, that's like a major talk about. Nylander was flying tonight.
Flying.
Like, gotta mention him. Gotta mention in the show. Can't just. He was brutal in that Devils game.
Brutal.
He was well rested for this game, and he showed up.
Yeah, and I really do think he likes playing with these two guys. A lot of space out there. They win a ton of battles along the boards, find him in good spots, where he gets his goal. He made the saucer pass. I don't know at what point of the game it was, but he made a saucer pass, like cross his body, backhand to Pacioretty streaking. And then Pacioretty tried to center it in front of the net. Like this guy is just so unbelievably skilled. And, there it is right there. Oh, 6 sauce. Well, thank you very much, Luke. Ask and you shall receive. But yeah, it's just this pass is really, really nice. I just find that playing with these two guys, both are offense. They're not the fastest guys, but they're good in the offensive zone. They have good hockey sense. I really feel like these 3 guys together is an awesome mix.
God, that pass is so nice.
It's so nice. It's such a nice pass.
So more.
Yeah, it's really good.
More.
Yeah, and he ends up getting the goal, and it's a really nice finish where like he whacks it up over the goalie and goes in, and that ends up being the winner. Was that the 3rd goal? No, that was the 2nd goal. That doesn't end up being the winner. I'm lying to you, everyone. Pacioretty scored the winner on the tip. Yeah. But great game for Nylander, and he needed it after a vintage dog effort on Tuesday against the Devils, where he was no good.
So I think that for the most part, the hardcore Nylander fans are now just like yelling at the clouds that everybody likes Nylander. The uncles, everybody's in on this. Everybody accepts it.
I think it's over.
Yeah, for the most part. But just like anything, and this is why it's the lamest argument, because if you look at sports fans, there's always going to be a few people, right, that are the extremists, right, who just still think, who will never move off of thinking, Nylander's not a winner or whatever. Same with Marner, Matthews. Every one of these guys, Tavares, every one of these guys has defactors. So if you look hard enough for it, you're going to see it.
Yep.
But the reality is that everybody thinks that this guy is a brilliant player for, the vast majority, right? And maybe people don't think he's as great as some people think, but ultimately he's acknowledged in terms of who he is in the league. But when Sportsnet did him dirty tonight with the hit stat, how many of the remaining uncles who have been quiet walked up to the TV, put their cameras up, and snapped a picture of that one hit and sent it to their sons?
Well, the thing is, we did it on Kipper and Bourne today.
Okay.
So, I guarantee Kipper was like, let's do it on the broadcast. Yeah. Like, we did it. And our boy Jake Schultz pulled up the hit. He found the hit. He grabbed it, and
so funny.
He played it. And he had one hit. But, we read out the names of guys who have no hits.
Yeah.
And Team Canada defenseman Shea Theodore has one hit.
Yeah. I would not put him on the team for that.
No, I said immediately on the show, I'm like, off team.
Cut.
You're done. Cut. In fact, you can't be a Canadian. You're American now. You're done.
I think that's actually the most embarrassing statistic that's ever been affiliated.
Our boy Tanev at 5.
I know, but don't say that because it hurt my feelings.
He had 5 all year, bud. It's more than
5 all year.
It's more than 1.
By the way,
4-1.
his shift on the second goal that the Ducks scored was god awful.
Yeah,
everybody
he got it too high. He got it way too high. Tanev above the circle, no good.
He
got to be
looked
below
lost
the hash
too, eh?
mark.
He's like, what am I doing out here? It's not great.
There's two places he should be: below the net, around the hash marks, and on the blue line on the opposite side of the ice in the offensive zone. And those are the three places he should be. Yeah. And when he gets out near the top of the circle, that's no good. That's not where you want him to be. So, Craig. Oh, so this is from Christian. He put it in our chat. Craig Berube says Leafs will know more about severity of Stolarz' lower body injury tomorrow. Hoping for good news. Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there you go.
When have we? Have we ever gotten it? Unless it's actually severely bad.
Yeah.
Even when it is bad, they try to be patient with it because they don't want to just dummy the guy's ear. But
thanks, Christian, for putting that in there. That's
yeah. Good job, Christian. Good job.
Christian. Last thing, are we going to do the jerseys?
Yeah, sure.
You're going to defend yourself.
I love them.
Oh my god. Like
that, I don't really love. I think
stop trying to be a Gen Z, bro. You don't have to pretend that those are cool and try to be a young guy. Like you're an old man. Those jerseys reek. They're ECHL level. They may be the worst jerseys in the history of the league. They are awful.
That's such a horrid take. So
awful.
There's a couple things. I like when sweaters reflect the market.
Okay.
And there is a California orange color, like it reminds me of a duck, but it's like a hot orange. It's something that I could picture someone wearing, like a Trevor Zegras type player, which is the identity of their team. If you want to go, I would say this: where they're at in their tenure, it's a good sweater. Where they want to be, where a team wants to be, is terms of winning a Stanley Cup. I don't think you're ever going to see that sweater in a Stanley Cup Finals.
I think it's amazing that they had the worst jersey in the league and then made it even worse. Like it's really impressive.
I think it's definitely an upgrade on what they had.
No,
it's definitely an upgrade. I like when there's white in there. I will admit that to me, the sweater looks good when it's just like on a model and it's out in the real world. And because like, you know me, I'm not a jersey wearing guy, but if I saw a person wearing that jersey out, I would go, that's a cool jersey, the full orange. But on the ice, when they wear the full oranges, I don't really like them. But when they wear the one they wore tonight, where it's the white with the orange, I really like them. I think it's just a sharp look. I truly enjoy them.
Can I say that if I'm going to make a suggestion for them, how far a pair of black pants and a black helmet would go for those jerseys? The helmet's way too much and the pants are way too much. Like it's an absurd look. Like the thing I hate the most when teams do it is they try to like take the old school jersey and make it new, like the Capitals right now, like the Capitals ones that they've had since like the lockout, where they have those beautiful old sweaters that like Kipper used to wear back in the day, and with like the stars down the arm and like the beautiful red, blue, and white, and they do those like the new version of it. I hate when these teams try to like make a new version of the old ones. If you're gonna do the old jersey, just do what the Kings did. And go back to the nicest jerseys that you've ever had. And they're like, yeah, these are beautiful. We're just going to do that. We're going back to the old way. Do a slight tweak on the purple and just make them purple. But they're like, we got to do something classic, but it's also going to be new. And it's just horrid. They mangle.
I like them.
It's the logo is the only good thing and everything else is horrible. But I will say, I talked to Timu Solani this summer when he was doing that movie with Brett Hall. Yeah. And I asked him about him and I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, oh, it's a lot of orange. Yeah. And he was like grumbling about it. I'm like, that's all I need to hear. Timu, career Duck, wasn't like thrilled about it. That's all I need to know.
Honestly, that breaks my heart because I feel like you used that at the very end. This is like in shows. This is like in shows where it's a procedural show and the prosecution thinks like they're doing so well and they're getting cocky, and then all of a sudden at the very end, the trial lawyer comes out and is like, the Atticus Finch is like, well, Your Honor, and pulls out the last stop and stuns the crowd. And it's like, you just finched me. You just Atticus finched me right on the goal line. Just crushed me into a million pieces with Timu Solani, not like in the jersey. I'm like, yeah, Honor. I guess they're like, I'm that guy. This is terrible.
I love it.
I got no leg to stand on, so that's over. That's not. Ducks jersey's bad. The case is closed. I need to hear the grumblings. Your Honor, we need to see this.
I'll dig it up for you, but he didn't love it. I'll tell you.
Yeah, you dig that up.
He's like, remember he said like he loves the purple.
All right. Well, you dig that up because
I'll dig it up. I'll dig it up.
Yeah.
On our, it was a
Good on it.
Sportsnet today with Daniele Franceschi. They don't podcast any of it, so good luck finding that one, pal.
We call for a recess, Your Honor. That's where I'm at with this. Anyway, subscribe to this podcast, leave 5 stars, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee, and we will see you on. Oh, you won't be here. It's Borny and I.
Yeah, I'm gone all weekend. Going to Detroit.
The return of. Oh, we should say that. So, return of Born on Saturday.
Yeah.
Mr. Fancy Birthday Boy. Wish him a happy birthday if you see this. It's Born's birthday. He loves it. Yeah. As a fellow birthday hater, I saw your tweet today and I went, "You're a scumbag." That's a mean thing to do.
Well, his wife DM'd me. She's like, "No one ever acknowledges his birthday. He hates it. Please do it." I'm like, "All right, done."
Wow.
Done,
the
Bree.
two forces combining to ruin his day. So he's on Saturday, and then we're actually off on Sunday. So Sunday, there's not going to be a show, but just go watch football, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be watching the best game of the year in person. My first ever NFL game, Bills and Lions at Ford Field, right? So it's going to be fun. Can't wait.
That's cool.
And,
that's really cool. I'm really stoked. I will say to you though, like, and I'll say this publicly to shame you. Yeah. You've been trying to ride the fence of like, well, I don't really want to pick a side and I don't want to wear any gear when I go down there. It's like, you got to choose. This is the time. You're either Bills or you're Lions. Pick a side. You get 2 awesome fan bases. You're a bandwagoner. You jump on 35 teams a year. And I'm telling you, as someone who goes to games, it's so fun being a part of like the actual community and like wearing the gear and being a part of the team. You got to pick a team.
I'm going to go. No, I do the Rob Lowe hat electric. I have the Rob Lowe hat, so it would be a great move. I'm going to go to the casino in Detroit and bet the over and wear the Rob Lowe hat and cheer for everyone, which would be a lot of fun. But yeah, and I'm also going to Wings Leafs on Saturday. So I will love away Leafs games, and I haven't decided if I'm going to wear a jersey or not. I think my jersey days are done. But I was thinking cracking out the old Tucker is the only thought I had, but dusting off the Tucker was my thought. But I think I'm just going to go.
I will say though, for a road game with a good buddy, like going with Keegs,
who's a diehard Red Wing fan, I might have to be going jersey.
I'd bust out the sweater. You can't be caught. Here's the thing: you can't be working doing this job and then get caught at the arena wearing the sweater.
No, but on the road.
On the road, you bump into somebody, you're wearing, it's like, that's cool. I would wear the sweater. And
so plus, the question is Shen or Tucker?
Tucker, all the way.
Oh, yeah, Tux. And it's the classic blue shoulder with the nice old Leaf one. It's a greasy tarp. No laces left in it. A couple stains on it. It's a greasy
that's what
tarp.
I mean. Yeah, that's I think like someday you and I should do like the best Leaf sweaters you can own, but it's like Tucker's like a good bomber jacket where it's like you gotta have it in the closet, like it's a standard. It's just like it's a piece that ties everything else together. You gotta have the 16, the right 16.
Marner jersey is like a leopard print shirt that you're trying to pull off, and it just
that's just not good. It's me trying to be Gen Z liking the Ducks jerseys. Anyways, all right, let's get out of here. Let's shut it down. We'll see you on Saturday night, Borny and I, the return of Justin Bourne, Mr. Fancy Birthday Boy. Send him a message. We'll see you then.